Well, Tom, a big thank you for joining us. Before we get to the next round of the Challenge Cup, just congratulations on the Featherstone result in the last round. How was that tricky encounter?
Yeah, mate. I think, to be honest, it was a big wake-up call for us. Obviously, look, Featherstone are a great side, and there's a reason they've been doing so well in the Championship. So I think going into that game, there was... I wouldn't say that we underestimated them because we knew how much the game meant, but I definitely think that they came with a game plan, and they came with a lot of intensity, and we had to match that. So look, it got us on the way, and we knew then, look, before we started the Challenge Cup run, we kind of had a bit of a layout, really. Look, this is how many games we've got. This is what we're going to have to do, and this is what we do because we're obviously, it's a big goal for us to get to the final this year and to get some silverware. So when they came, that was the start of the journey, and from there we kick things off, and hopefully now we continue that momentum going into the Saints game and go from there, really.
I mean, what's your sense on the importance of the Challenge Cup for the club more generally?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, look, 2018 was a massive year for them, and coming in, that's like I noticed when I first joined the club, and you're walking around because you look at every other team, really, and they've been going since like the early 1900s, and we've got 150 years of this and that. You look at Catalans, and they've only been going since 2006. So they've not really had a chance to have much history yet. They're building their history now, and that was a big reason why of joining the club, why it meant so much to me, because I thought I get to be a part of that, that history, and I thought that was a major attraction point. And walking around, you can just see like Challenge Cup memorabilia everywhere because that was the first trophy that they'd won. It was huge for them. That was the big one, and that'll be talked about till the end of time for Catalans Dragons. As far as they're concerned, that was the first the first champion side for them. So I think ever since then, it's become a special place. That it is something that they want to do every year. It's something that ever since I've been here, we set our goals upon, and it's important to us. And especially the squad that we've got now with Steve and what he's brought in, and the other staff as well, and everything that's coming together so well here. It's just becoming more and more real. So, like I said, look, obviously we've got a massive challenge coming up on Saturday. We realise what's ahead of us and what's going to be expected of us, but in terms of confidence and belief, we fully know what we're capable of, and that's the main thing, really. We know that if we can just tick it off each week, obviously we want to get to the final, but first you've got a quarters, you've got to win that, then you've got a semis, you've got to win that. So we're just going to stick with the process that we did from the start and keep ticking off each week, and hopefully, it's enough to get to a final and win it.
Hey, I tell you what though, Tom, I have brought you on to talk about St Helens, but there's another big game looming just over the horizon, isn't there, with the French derby against Toulouse, the first time in the Super League era, which is tremendous, isn't it? So going back to what we're talking about before about the mental strength and that kind of thing, I mean, it is about taking each game as it comes, but how excited is everyone about that occasion next week?
Yeah, I must admit, I'm buzzing for it. It's something different, really, because in terms of the derby, we're still about 2.5 hours away from Toulouse. So it'd be like Wigan playing Newcastle. So it doesn't say much like that, but like you said, because it is really the only other French team that's been in around the Super League and Championship, and it does mean a lot, especially around here. I've come from Wigan, and obviously that with being Wigan and St Helens, it's massive, and that's kind of known all around the world. And that's something that they're trying to build here now, Catalans versus Toulouse, and especially when you see people around the city, you talk to them, and so a lot of them, it matters, and it's not necessarily that, I don't know the best way to describe it, because it sounds a bit full on when you say like hatred, like you think of Wigan St Helens, and everyone, all the fans in the meantime are building up to it, and they're like, this is the game, you've got to win this one. I hate these men. These, like a lot of them are friends, like they all play in the French camp together, and even the fans, like the fans kind of want Toulouse to do well because, again, they're another French team, and they'd rather another French team do well than, realistically, like an English team come in because it's one of their own. But at the same time, it means everything, I think, more like just for their bragging rights. They want to know, look, it's another French team, but we're the best, we're Catalans, and I think that's a huge point for, especially the local area. And I tell everyone every time they ask me about it, you're not just representing, like, people think, oh, you play for Catalan Dragons and you're representing Perpignan. Catalan as an area and as a nation, from what it once was, are very proud. It means so much to them. And even when you go into like one of the restaurants, even things, and like you look at this as like Catalan on the menu in terms of like the actual language itself, and you think, well, no one even speaks this anymore. You know what I mean? As a language, it's either French or Spanish, but they still put it on. It's a bit like Wales, like they never let the tradition die, and they love it, and they're so proud of the nation and where they come from and who they are. So whoever you go against, especially being Toulouse, they don't see it as like, oh, you France versus France. They see it as like, well, we're Catalan and you're against Toulouse, and it means that much to him. It's huge for him. So look, I'm sure on that day the fans obviously they'll be there, and they'll be letting it know we've got a very proud and passionate bunch. So they'll be behind us, and it'll be a great atmosphere, and I'm looking forward to it.
And just a final question, Tom, just about those fans. 2 mammoth home games coming up over the course of the next week. How important are they going to be this week and on Thursday next?
Oh, huge. Absolutely huge. When obviously, look, when you're playing, you get into you get into your system and you're focusing on what you're doing. It's you kind of, especially when we're away, because we're that busy, just like you're close to the team and you stick together. And when you score a try, you mind to you like my mum or dad shake, well done. And then you've got 15,000 people doing you. But when you're at home, when you've got that energy behind you, and you've got a set on your own try line, and they're absolutely bouncing, they're all cheering, and they are. I still always look back to that semi-final last year versus Hull KR, and coming to that was unlike anything I've ever seen before. They're setting flares off, and you have like 2,000 just like wait for the bus to land, and they're all going mental and they're shouting, and like I said, they're chucking like confetti and everything like that. When you've got that, it just naturally it brings you up another level. Everyone's like got the energy behind them. Everyone's passionate and they're good. And if you can get the confidence of that, and they're going to be a huge factor in it, we need them behind us. And hopefully, if we can start playing well on Saturday, and we can get them behind us and keep a good roll on, then the results will come our way and give them a reason to celebrate.